do's and don'ts of social media, email manners, and cell phone etiquette. We are going to teach you how to use technology with class as Kababayan LA starts right now. Yes, we live in an instant world. Everything is about technology. It's always readily available, always accessible, and that is why sometimes we forget about our manners, and that is not the case. It is never excusable to forget your manners, and we're going to be talking about that today on the show, making it easy for you by joining by inviting our etiquette coach, Miss Melba Lim, once again here on the show. Hello.
Thank you, Janelle. My pleasure to be here as always.
And Melba is here joining us to talk about technology etiquette. First, Melba, is there such a thing, or it's something that's needed, correct?
Yes, it's something that's needed. It's something that was not available 20 years ago because the technology wasn't there.
Yeah.
But things change, and yes, there is technology etiquette for cell phones, for emails, and the like.
All right, let's talk about that today on the show. So full day on technology. Get your pen and paper ready. Take down some notes because these are important things to think about and to remember. Let's first start with cell phone etiquette. The first rule is be 100% present. What is that?
All right. That means that when you're with a group of people, the cell phone should be turned off because the important person is the one you're with, or the important group of people. They take precedence over the cell phone calls.
All right. What if, let's say, for example, you have a breakfast meeting at 10, but then you have a call at like 11 or 11:30, and you're scared that it might go into that. What do you do?
All right. You inform the people you're with that you have a very important call coming in, and you hope they don't mind that you will need to take that call. So that way they're alerted, and when the call comes in, excuse yourself from the group and take the call.
Yes, let's do that. Number two, cell phone etiquette, tip number 2 is keep it private and keep your cool. First, keep it private, so nobody has to hear whatever it is that you're talking about.
Nobody has to hear private things that you want to discuss with something else, intimate things, or, personal problems. And keep your cool. Don't fight with somebody else over the cell phone. Remember, there are people within a foot away from you, able to hear whatever you're saying.
Right. And tip number 3 is learn to vibe. What does that mean?
Learn to vibe. Put the phone on vibrate. It will really help you a lot.
But sometimes there are places like our studio here on LA 18 that don't allow cell phones to be on vibrate. It has to be completely off, and that is tip number 4. You have to follow the rules,
That's
correct?
right. There are places like you said, the studio, or the airplanes, or the hospitals where they don't want the cell phones on. So let's be courteous and let's follow the rules because they're there for a purpose.
Paano naman yung may pagka hard of hearing, ika nga medyo nabibingin ng konti. Sometimes they think that they're, yung tone nila is medyo okay pa. Yun pala, sumisigaw na sila and people around them can hear them.
That's right. Here's a tip. The cell phone is a very sensitive gadget or tool. So therefore, you don't really need to scream or, increase the decibels of your voice to be heard by the other person. Because even if you whisper, they can hear.
And what pisses me off or maybe upsets me or bothers me, one of my pet peeves is also when people put their phone on speakerphone. And it's just, what are your thoughts on that?
Okay. It's rude to put your phone on speakerphone if you haven't asked the permission of the person on the line.
Okay.
You have to tell that other person, you know what, so-and-so is here with me. Is it okay with you if I put the phone on speakerphone because I'm driving? And if they don't want to do that, then don't.
In that manner, you have to excuse yourself all the time when taking phone calls. What if it's just short and you don't want to bother yourself with, having to stand up and walking out of the room when it's just going to take maybe 5 minutes?
Well, 5 minutes is still long. It's still a long period of time when you're with other people, right? So you may not have to move away from the room, but get out of the table or the circle where you are and, move quite a distance and then take your call.
All right. What about this? Tip number 7. What if, let's say, our cell phones now are very high-tech, no? You can accept the videos, you can watch videos, you can listen to songs. What are your thoughts on that? What do you do?
Okay. You know what? Use earphones, okay? Don't let other people hear what you're listening to. They might not be interested, right? Okay.
And tip number 8, be a good Samaritan.
Okay. When you see an accident, when you see someone in distress, that's the best time to use a cell phone. Please alert the authorities and get help on the way.
Yeah, make sure that you're able to help because some other people, like in accidents, may not
That's right.
Yeah,
So
may
if
not
you
have
have the
cell phones.
opportunity to place the call, even if you can't stop on the roadside or wherever, place that call and alert authorities to get there.
And speaking of roadside, you have to focus on driving. That is a priority
Yes.
when you're driving and using the cell phone.
And I'd like to call that wireless responsibility. Make sure that, if you need to take a call, if you can have it on speaker, if you're by yourself, or tell the other person that it's on speaker because I'm driving, or else that you can't drive holding that cell phone. So we have to use earpieces.
Right.
So, right.
Yeah, be responsible. Tip number 10, now let's talk to our kababayans because a lot of Filipinos are into this, ringtones. Okay, choose ringtones that you will not regret.
All right. Supposing you were in an interview, job interview, very important for you, and you forgot to turn off your cell phone.
Okay.
And you had chosen a ringtone that's maybe a rooster crowing or a La Bamba music or whatever else. Okay?
Oo, yung mga tumatawang mga bata,
right?
ganyan.
Yes.
Oo.
So you're going to regret it. It's embarrassing, and it's puts you a few notches down.
On the other side, though, isn't that like a conversation starter also?
Yes, it is, but you have to be very careful that, where you need to turn the phone off, it's off.
All right. And one final thing to remember when using your cell phone, because nga sobrang high-tech na mga phones ngayon, may mga camera na nakasama. Last is say please before they cheese.
All right. Before you take pictures of other people, ask their permission. And then show them what you took, because they don't want to find themselves posted here and there and everywhere, and they didn't approve of the shot.
And
right?
that's actually one etiquette tip sa ating Facebook when we talk about social networking later on in the show. Don't post unglamorous pictures, and we have more for you when we return. Don't go away.